Hey guys, this is Mr. Peng, and I've got for you your Week 8 spelling list. Now, on this list, there are two groups of words. Group number one are words that start with dia, so it's got the prefix dia on it. This prefix means through or throughout, so take note of that in the meanings of the words. See if you can relate it. Your second group are words that end with ile, so it's got the suffix ile on the end. Now, this suffix is an adjective suffix, so when you see ile on the end of a word, then most of the time it'll be an adjective. Alright, let's get started. Your first word is dial. Dial can be used as a noun and a verb. As a noun, it's a face of a clock or watch that is marked to show the unit of time. Or it can be that round thing that's on those really old phones. Okay, so you might not see that nowadays because phones that have dials are really old, so they probably don't exist anymore. So the main place you'd see this word would be in the verb form, which means just to make a phone call. To spell dial, start with the prefix dia, and then just add the L at the end. So, D-I-A-L spells dial. Your next word is dialect. Dialect is a noun, and it's a particular form of language which is particular to a specific region or social group. So, let's compare how Americans and Australians speak. You may have heard people talk about the Australian accent. The English we speak in Australia is actually a dialect, because as per the definition, it is a form of the English language spoken by a specific region, which is Australia. Now, think to some of the weird ways we use English compared to other places. All of these things, which also include grammar, pronunciation, and choice of vocabulary, are included in the Australian English dialect. So for the spelling of dialect, split the word into two parts. The prefix dia comes first, then L-E-C-T for the lect ending. D-I-A-L-E-C-T spells dialect. The next word is dialogue. Dialogue is a noun, and it's a conversation between two or more people. For the spelling of dialogue, it starts with the prefix dia, then is followed by L-O-G-U-E for log. Be careful of the U and the E at the end of the word because they aren't pronounced. D-I-A-L-O-G-U-E spells dialogue. Word number 4 is diagnose. Diagnose is a verb, and it means to identify the nature of an illness by looking at the symptoms. This is what doctors do. They diagnose what's wrong with you when you go and see them. They tell you what sickness you have by looking at what's happening to you. It's not a guess. For example, they can diagnose that you have a fever by measuring your temperature and looking at your behavior in how you sneeze, sniff your nose, and stuff like that. Okay, for the spelling here, we're going to split it into two parts, but the G is going with the prefix this time. So, start with the D-I-A-G for the diag, and then the N-O-S-E for the nose part. So, D-I-A-G-N-O-S-E spells diagnose. Word number 5 is diagram. Diagram is a noun, and it's a drawing showing the appearance, structure, or workings of something. A diagram is a drawing, yes, but normally when we use this word, it's talking about a drawing of something technical. Diagrams are used to give meaning to something and not just to look good. For example, a diagram is normally used in the STEM field. The spelling of diagram is done by splitting it into two parts, the prefix dia and the gram, which means a picture or drawing. So, D-I-A-G-R-A-M spells diagram. The next word is diagonal. Diagonal is an adjective, and it means joining two opposite corners of a square, rectangle, or other straight-sided shapes. You can also use this word as a noun too, but when used like this, it's like a line that's diagonal. Okay, so the word diagonal is made by three separate parts. First, the prefix dia, followed by gon, which means shape, and then ending with the suffix al, which makes the word an adjective. So, diagonal spells diagonal. The next word is diameter. Diameter is a noun, and it's a word relating to circles. So it's a line passing from one side of the circle to the other side, which goes through the center. Okay, for the spelling of diameter, split the word into two parts. We have the prefix dia and meter, but be very careful with this word. You might think that because it has something to do with length, that meter is spelt metre, just like the measurement, but this isn't true. This tricks a lot of people. Diameter is spelt with the er at the end. So, diameter spells diameter. The next word is diaphragm. Diaphragm is a noun, and a diaphragm is a part of the inside of your body, which plays a major part in your breathing. Okay, so if you wish to know more about how this part works, then I recommend doing your own research. The spelling for diaphragm is very tricky, as is with all things medical. It starts with the prefix dia, followed by the phram part. Now, this is tricky in two places. One is the ph, making the f sound, which you may be used to in words like phone or elephant. Now, the real tricky part is in the phram part, which is the gm at the end. That sneaky G is not pronounced at all. So, you need to remember to put it in when you're spelling it. So, diaphragm spells diaphragm. The next word is diamond. Diamond is a noun, and it's a precious stone made of pure carbon. Now, diamond is clear and colorless, and is the hardest naturally occurring substance. Because it's so hard, they actually use diamond in tools. This is also why diamond is, or was, the best material to use in Minecraft. So diamond is spelt in two parts, the prefix dia, followed by mond for the mend part. Just remember here that the second vowel sound is an O. I used to pronounce it diamond to remember how to spell this word. When we pronounce it normally though, we don't even say the A in the prefix. diamond spells diamond. Word number 10 is fertile. Fertile is an adjective, and it describes things that are producing or capable of producing abundant vegetation or crops. Normally, when we're using this word, we're talking about the soil. So, fertile soil would be soil that is able to grow a lot of crops. We'll spell fertile in two parts. F-E-R for the fer sound at the start, and then T-I-L-E for the tile to end it. F-E-R-T-I-L-E spells fertile. The next word is futile. Futile is an adjective, and it describes things that are incapable of producing any useful result. So, another word for futile is useless. Although when we're using the word futile, it seems more hopeless. So you could say even more hopeless than hopeless. Okay, so the spelling of futile is simple in that it starts with FU for the few sound, and then it ends with tile, like in the last word. So, FUTILE spells futile. The next word is agile. Agile is an adjective, and it means able to move quickly. So agile is a word that's a lot like the word fast. When using the word fast, though, we're more so talking about speed. If agile is used, then we tend to think that the thing it's describing is not only fast, but is quick to move and change directions as well. For example, we can use agile to describe a tiger, but not a race car. Tigers move quickly in more than one way, while the race car just goes fast. Okay, agile is spelt starting with an A, and then followed by G-I-L-E for the gile sound. Keep in mind that the G here is making a soft G sound. A-G-I-L-E spells agile. The next word is docile. Docile is an adjective, and it describes something that's ready to accept control or instruction. So other adjectives that go with docile are like passive, submissive, and tame. Docile makes whatever it's describing seem rather harmless. For spelling docile, start with the D-O, making the do sound, which is followed by the C-I-L-E, making the sile sound. Keep in mind that the C here is making the soft C sound. D-O-C-I-L-E spells docile. The next word is hostile. Hostile is an adjective, and it describes things that are showing or feeling opposition or dislike. So when something's being hostile, it's being unfriendly, or very unfriendly, like they hate you or something. Okay, the spelling of hostile can be done by splitting it into two parts, hos and tile. These parts can just be sounded out. H-O-S-T-I-L-E. That spells hostile. Word number 15 is mobile. Mobile is an adjective, and it describes things that are able to move or be moved freely or easily. The spelling of mobile is spelt with the M-O for the mo sound at the start, followed by B-I-L-E, making the bile sound at the end. So, putting that together, M-O-B-I-L-E spells mobile. Word number 16 is sterile. Sterile is an adjective, and it can be used to describe things that can't produce children, or it can describe things that are free from bacteria or other living microorganisms, so just really clean things. If you have a pet, then you might have seen this word in the verb form, sterilize. If you get your pet sterilized, that means it can't produce any children. This kind of links both adjectival meanings of the word because if you sterilize a surface, which is to clean it to remove all of the bacteria, then the bacteria can't really produce itself more or reproduce. For spelling, sterile starts with S-T-E for the ste part, which is then followed by the rile sound, made by the letters R-I-L-E. So, S-T-E-R-I-L-E spells sterile. The next word is crocodile. Crocodile is a noun, and it's a large predatory reptile with... Just look at the picture. It's better that way. Okay, the only thing about the crocodile is to not get it confused with alligators. And also, I find it quite weird that crocodile is on this list because it's not an adjective like the "ile" sound normally indicates. As many of you may be familiar with the spelling of croc, which is short for crocodile, let's use that. Spell croc with an O at the end, so C-R-O-C-O, then add the dial at the end. So C-R-O-C-O-D-I-L-E spells crocodile. The next word is juvenile. Juvenile is an adjective, and it describes things that are relating to young people or children. The most common place you'd see this word is relating to sicknesses such as juvenile diabetes, or law-related things such as juvenile detention centers, which is sometimes shortened to juvie. So juvenile may be the weirdest looking I-L-E word on this list. Even though it looks weird, it can just be sounded out. J-U for the Jew start, V-E-N after that, then I-L-E for the end. So if we put that together, it makes J-U-V-E-N-I-L-E. That spells juvenile. Word number 19 is diary. Diary is a noun, and it's a book in which someone keeps a daily record of events or experiences, or things that happen in their day. The spelling of diary is simple, but just be careful not to flip the I and the A. If you get them around the wrong way, it will spell dairy, which is something completely different. You don't want to mix them up. So, D-I-A-R-Y spells diary. And the last word on your list is profile. Profile is a noun, and it can be one of two things. It can be an outline of something, especially a person's face as seen from one side. That's a profile. Or a profile can be a short article giving a description of a person or an organization. Like if you've ever made an account online for something, they normally give you a profile page. This is a page which gives a general overview of you, or the person that owns that account. To spell profile, simply split it up into two parts. Pro, which is spelt P-R-O, then file, which is spelt F-I-L-E. Simple. Put them together, and you have P-R-O-F-I-L-E spelling profile. Okay, that does it for this week's words, and hopefully my explanations helped you. Alright, I'll see you next week. Bye guys.